Welcome, everybody. And tonight I called this little lecture that we're doing, I won't call it a lecture, well, let's call it a get-together, is called a Texas Braveheart tune-up. Okay? Because wouldn't it be great if you had a brave heart? Wouldn't it be great if you actually knew what your chokehold was that was stopping you from having the life that you always were told that you deserved and you never got it? Wouldn't it be great if you were to have no guilt? Oh, but then guess what? If you had no guilt, then you'll probably go to hell, right? Yeah, and that's what you're trained, that guilt keeps you what? Keeps you from hurting yourself. Guilt keeps you from hurting everybody else. And it's a big fat lie. I have absolutely no guilt. Have I made mistakes? Of course I did. I don't remember coming here before. I got to practice something 10,000 times before I perfect it. Did you know that? So it doesn't matter how many times I make a mistake, and it doesn't matter how much you judge me, because right now, out of all the people that are here tonight and people that are on these platforms, some already don't like me. Some do like me. Some love me. Some hate me. And it's none of my business. Because you're only making an assessment of the beliefs that you have. You know? I should maybe be Chinese, or I should be Japanese, or maybe I should be dark colored, or maybe I should be a certain religion, or maybe I should talk a certain language, or maybe I need to talk a certain way. And that's the way most people are, and that's the way most people live. And guess what? If you don't believe me, guess what? If my beliefs match yours, you'd like me. If they don't match yours, chances are you're not going to like me. You'll even leave early. Goodbye. Don't care. Don't care. Goodbye. Have a good trip. Be safe. Okay, the reality is this. Everybody here wants something different, but they don't want to learn different. Everybody here wants something different, but they don't want to learn different. So I'm going to give you things that are different tonight, and you're going to go, oh, well, I like this, but I didn't like that, and I like this, and I didn't like that. And some of you will even come up to me and go at the end of the lecture, you know what? I liked about 80%. Well, why do I need to know that? All you're telling me is that 20% of your beliefs didn't match mine, so who cares? That's great. Why should they? You know what? When you go to a buffet, do you eat everything at the buffet? You'd be sick, wouldn't you? If you tried to eat up every belief that I'm going to be talking about tonight, you'd be sick tomorrow. Because I'm going to tell you that unconditional love for yourself and everybody else on this planet is the only way that you're going to have joy and happiness, and you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. Every one of you hates somebody, or you hate some part of the system. You hate the government, you hate the medical, you hate taxes, you hate Fred, Uncle Fred, you don't like this, you don't like that. And the reality is guess what? You don't even know, but you screwed yourself over already. There's nothing that I hate. Nothing. And I won't say the word. I won't use the word. I hate my body. I hate my life. I hate Brussels sprouts. How can you hate a Brussels sprout? What did it do to you? Well, you didn't like the taste. So then if you didn't like the taste, why didn't you forget about the Brussels sprout, and why don't you focus on what you do like to eat? I hate him for what he says. Really? Isn't that something? Look at how you focus on things that make you feel miserable. What did I tell you before we came on here? I told you that every one of you have to be in pain and have suffering to a certain degree, or you're not alive every day. And that's the God's truth. There's only a handful of these psychos, and they strategize so well that guess what? Parents do not like their children. The children do not like their parents. How does that even happen? And we decide to have children because we can't find love. But we want to bring children into our world so that we can find pure love, and then we have them, and then by the time they walk and talk, they act like us. And then guess what? We don't know that they're actually mimicking us, but then we punish them. But we tell them that they have unconditional love until they act like us, and then we punish them. So then they don't trust us, and then they want to go find a new family by the time they're 12 or 13, yes or no? Yeah. Oh, trust me, it's not that hard to figure out. And understand something. There's not There's not an adult that I know that should have been a parent. And that's quite parent. Because I don't know any adult in here that knew how to love themselves properly, eat properly, drink properly, or think properly when they had children. And it's not your fault. But my God, what a beautiful game this is. What a challenge this is. To come down here and have these elite that have been, they're not elite, they're just psychos, and they have been granted the keys to money. Now, whether you want to believe this or not, I don't really care. But I believe that which created the universe said, you psychos can have all the keys to the money and all the finances, and let's see if the average human can wake up. No, that's not going to happen. The majority of the population will never wake up. How many people know that 90% of the population has an autoimmune disease? How many people know that everybody in here is going to tell me they have good bowel movements and they eat well? And I only see two people here eat right. And I didn't say eat great. I said eat better. So, but you all eat really good compared to everybody else that's killing themselves, but you think you eat well. I know I eat well. I know I think well. And I love well. Because I will not let myself judge another human being. And I definitely would not judge a Brussels sprout because it's just a Brussels sprout. Even though I don't like eating them. So I don't like eating them, but I shouldn't attack them, should I? But you know what? It doesn't take a lot, does it? To get anybody to go and join a war, fly a plane, go over to another country and hurt a human being, does it? No. It doesn't take a lot for you to hurt yourself or to hurt your family, does it? And that's the reality. And you know what? It doesn't matter. Nothing needs to change. Everything can stay the same. Everything can even get worse. I love my life. I love me unconditionally. No matter what I do, okay, I don't need to forgive myself because I'm not going to judge myself. I'm going to take a look at what happened, what went on, and learn what I can learn from that. How can I grow from that? If I didn't even try to hurt someone, but they're hurting, I'd say, how did I hurt you? And then I would listen to them. But understand something right now. You're all been programmed to be offended. And that's why they got the mask on our face. Because you are so offended so easy. And guess what? Tell me that we're not victims. Tell me that you don't feel like a victim of society. A victim of the rules for fools. I'm not a victim. I don't follow the rules. I don't pay taxes and I don't do it legally. So there you go. I haven't been to a medical doctor since I was 17. I'm not doing any of this. I'm not a prisoner. Okay, I'm not a slave to my own beliefs, and they're not my beliefs. Yeah, almost everybody here is a prisoner to their beliefs, and they're not your beliefs. So you're not a prisoner to your own beliefs. What did you say? How can we take a shortcut? Well, you can't take a shortcut. Well, okay, would you spend $4,500? And would you spend 9 days in a class with me? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. You wouldn't spend $4,500 to change your life. Who would do that? Right? Who would spend $4,500 to change their life? They're not going to do it. The majority of the population will never do this. Because guess what? To do that, that would mean that you would have to become your true self. And to become your true self would mean that you would have to eat right, think right, and you'd have to love yourself. You don't even know what loving yourself is. You don't even know what that is. You don't even know what love is. And I'm talking to you, sweetheart. You don't even know what real love is. Her. I'm not going to bring you into the mix. No way. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. Okay? But you don't know what love is. You would love to know what love is, but you'll never know what love is until you unconditionally love yourself. And you do not need anyone else to love you. As long as you need someone to love you, you are a slave on this planet. Now, do people love me? Do my family, do they love me? Yes, they do. Do I need them to love me? No, I don't. Do I want them not to love me? No, not that either. You're mixing it. If I unconditionally love and care for myself, then I won't hold any of you responsible for loving me, hugging me, kissing me, telling me how beautiful I am. Oh, you mean so much. I don't need any of it. So my daughters can be on their period. My sons could have a hangover. Okay? My partner could have cramps. And I'm going to love them anyway. Do you understand?
I do.
Yeah, well, that's the way it needs to be, and it's never going to be that way. Because you're too programmed. 90% of your brain is your subconscious, and your subconscious rules your day from the minute you wake up until you go to bed. And guess what? 90% of my whole day is run by my subconscious. Does anybody know that? But guess what? It can be. Because why? Because I have unconditional love for myself. I have no fear. Do I have any fear?
No.
You couldn't scare me. You know what? I had a major show done on me in Canada where they spent like a couple $100,000 to try to ruin my reputation. It didn't bother me. It's going all over the world. Dr. Wolfe murdered 3 people, steals money. You know, the reality is this. It doesn't matter. You can't expect people to love you or care for you. Okay? But what you can expect them to do is hold you ransom. Nobody will ever hold me ransom. Don't tell me you didn't hold your boyfriend's ransom. And if you were married, don't tell me you didn't hold your husband or your wife ransom, because you did. Because guess what? We all are looking for someone to fill up our heart. Yes or no?
Yeah.
I'm so lonely. I've got a broken heart. He broke my heart. She broke my heart. My heart is in pieces. I just want something to love. Why do you think pets are so big? Right? Pets are so big. Right? Because guess what? I need someone that will love me no matter what I am, because nobody else will love me because I'm not worth loving. And that's why people do it. You don't buy pets because of that. You don't buy pets. Yeah, but pets don't have unconditional love. That's not like they have I would like to have people around that actually, it's okay for people to have conditional love. You shouldn't have to have them love you. And if they didn't have to love you, they'd love you more. But you demand that they do. Do you have kids?
I do. I have one daughter.
Okay, and guess what? Her daughter fills up a lot of part of her heart. Now, if something happened to her daughter, it would just devastate her. Now, I love my kids 100%. I love everybody 100%. But I am not going to have them fill up any part of my heart, because if something happens, my heart will be broken. It might even kill me. So people die more of heartbreak than cancer. That's why heart disease is the #1 killer. You could get 20 people, they all eat the same diet. Trust me. Anybody want to challenge me? Go ahead. You want to get a doctor or a psychiatrist to challenge me, or a psychologist? Go ahead. I'll do it on my show. I hope you know I'm well studied. Let me tell you something right now. If you could learn how to love yourself, you would actually get a partner that loves themselves, which means you'd come together and you'd be 2 spirit beings instead of husband and wife, to death do us part. God, can't wait to buy into that. Or how about this one? For richer or poorer, or for sickness and in health. Trust me, nobody that I'm going to be living with is ever going to be sick. Oh, that's not true, Daryl. What would you do, leave them? No, you don't understand that the human body is amazing. It is the most beautiful creation. You are overweight or underweight because of emotional stuff. You are cold all the time, okay, because of stress and fear, and eating low vibrational and thinking low vibrational. That's it. That's it. People that are cold and have no circulation have no life. People that are hot all the time are burning up because they have to burn the infection off. They have to boil the blood. because the body's trying to stay well. When you're no longer hot, when you don't have a good diet and you're cold, that means you're going bye-bye. Do you ever touch anybody's hands? They're wet. Well, that's the fear of loss. Okay? Do you ever touch anybody's hands? We'll go around and touch hands. And guess what? Cold hands all the time. I always have cold hands. Well, that's a fearful person. And you don't even know it. And understand, you guys don't even know what your personalities are like because you're unconscious of it. You haven't been trained. That's what you learn in my whole life coach course. I give a money back guarantee. Listen, by the third day, there's nobody that doesn't have their coconut cracked. And by the third day, that doesn't go the third day, oh my God, I've been living unconsciously. I can't believe the life that I can have now. Oh my God, wait a minute. Are you trying to tell me, Dr. Wolfe, that if I love myself, I won't go to hell? I mean, seriously, you guys don't even think about it, but if you totally loved yourself, you actually believe on a subconscious level you'll go to hell. And even if you tell me you're not religious, you've all got the religious bug. Because you think there's a guy in the sky, or actually a guy too, not a girl, okay? Not an energy source, not something amazing and beautiful that has never judged you, but a guy up there that's judging you and that you've got to behave yourself. What a joke. What a joke. All you had to do is love yourself. You don't have to behave yourself. And what is behaving yourself? What is behaving yourself? Huh? Conforming. Okay, let's take a little break. I think we all know where we're going with this one tonight. Okay? Everybody, this is Rami. Rami is a master practitioner. This is her beautiful home. And this is where she has her clinic. Okay? Rami, would you like to say anything?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm Romy Braveheart, and I'm a master practitioner, doc of Detox. I do Wolfe Non-Surgical, and well, that changed my life and all. It's amazing.
Does anybody remember when Rami had an infection and her face was out like this? And okay, well it was. And they wanted her to do antibiotics, and her husband wanted her to do antibiotics, and she said to me, should I do them? I said, well, do them if you want to. But the reality is I'll be there in a few days. And her face was swollen. And I went in and did some non-surgical. And I brought it down by what, 80%?
Yes. And
then we got
20
it on.
minutes.
In 20 minutes, I brought it down by 80%. And it was swollen way out. And then she did the thunder shrooms. Okay. And what did that do?
Oh, the thunder shrooms.
And the Marigen.
Yeah.
And we healed the whole thing in just days, didn't we?
Yes.
Now, if you take a look from the surgery she had, there's a little scar there, and there's a little bump here. Now, I went in and worked in here the other night, and this is totally calcified. Okay? And that's not just from the infection, but it's from the fear. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because every mother has been taught to fear. Her kids go to school, her husband, you know, a good woman is fearful, right? Okay? So when anybody suffers in the family, you got to suffer as much as them. You got to be as sick as much as them, right? So, you know, that's how you win the prize, right? And then you just totally just destroy your life and your own immune system. How cool is that? Anyway, so we've been having people travel as far as 500 miles for cell-sonic and non-surgical this week, right? So we have a whole bunch of more treatments this week, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So Rami has a cell-sonic, which is the most amazing thing in the world. It's the strongest energy medicine device. We'll take a look at it tonight. When we go in, I'll explain it to you. But tonight, maybe we'll even show a little bit of non-surgical on some people. I'll tell you something right now. The cane, the walker, the wheelchair, the limping. Okay, how many women have had cesareans here? Right, so you can't lose weight, and you can't poo properly. Your sex drive is gone. Okay, your digestive tract is tied up in knots. You can't digest your food, and your life is ruined. So the reality is when you get an actual cesarean, okay, they cut with a knife. Do you know? It's like this. Do you know how many billions of cells when you get a cesarean that you damage the mitochondria, which are the powerhouse of each cell that make the ATP? They become damaged. When they become damaged, Does anybody understand how life works? So your mitochondria, which are in every cell, make ATP. The ATP gets released by the sodium-potassium pump of the cell. When that gets released and goes out, and it gets mixed with water, which is the extracellular fluid, a lightning bolt is created that creates a new cell. Whenever you go and you get surgery, how many people know that surgery causes more scar tissue and more damage than anything else that you can do to the human body? How many people know that after you have surgery, if you don't go in and have somebody go in, and I do mean this because I don't know anybody else who does our work, and you go in with our non-surgical, we'll give everybody here a money-back guarantee. Now, you've taken the courses, haven't you? Have I lied at all? Have I exaggerated? And if I do, just make sure that you protect everyone, okay? Now, so when you get that cesarean, okay, so just know this, okay, so 50% of all women get cesareans now in the United States. Now, if you want to go back 20 years, you'll find out it was only 5%. Now, what's the difference? The difference is that women eat like crap. They do, okay, because their men eat like crap, because the world eats like crap. How many people know that 90% of the food that you eat, and you might go, not me, well, you might be one, but we're talking about 99 out of 100, so slow down, okay? 99% of the population, the food they eat never existed 90 years ago, and it's not food. 90% of all the diseases that are on today never existed 90 years ago. So understand, women are more infected, more inflamed, they have more scar tissue. And remember, where does the baby come? The baby is right in the middle of what? Your large intestine? For most women, it's a sewer dump because you're pooping in your pelvis. Every one of you know that you had bowel problems when you were pregnant. Now, you had bowel problems before you were pregnant. And guess what? When you are pregnant, you are no longer have your period. Yes or no? So you're not getting rid of the toxins, and that's why you have what? Morning sickness. And you wouldn't have morning sickness if you would have got the cork out of your butt and you would have cleansed your colon and cleansed your liver before you got pregnant. And if you know how to do it. And also, look at the crap you eat. If you eat dairy when you're pregnant, guess what? It's a poison. It's a poison when you're not, but when you're pregnant, you're going to get constipated from it that much easier. You've got a baby growing inside of you that's taking up more room. So do you think we should have high vibrational foods that move through timely? Or do you want glicky, sticky dairy, bread? Hey, Jared, it's your dad, and I'm just doing a lecture right now.
Hey, no problem. I'm going to call Lori. I thought I could reach her here, but I'll give her a call.
Yeah. You want to say hi to everybody?
Hello. Yeah, why not?
Hi.
All right, Jared, I love you, buddy.
Hey, well, enjoy your lecture. Talk soon.
Yeah, you've ruined everything. Okay, all right. So anyways, go ahead.
How? When you say pooping in the pelvis, how does that show up? I mean...
Well, first of all, there isn't... Okay, how many people know that there was a major study by the Royal Society of Medicine, which is the medical system of Great Britain? It was the longest study ever done on the large intestine. And what did they state? A minimum of 85% of all diseases, which is not true, 95% to 98% of all diseases are caused because of your large intestine. Your large intestine is what? Your immune system. And guess what? You don't know that. You don't know that. Now, one second. If you knew that, you would respect it.
Yes.
You have to understand that every day that you have a bowel movement, it tells you how you ate the day before. And the reality is your bowel movement is a computer printout. It tells you everything about yourself. And for most of you, it stinks. It doesn't float. It sinks to the bottom. Or it's this little chunky, or it's rabbit turds, or it's a little string, okay? Or you're grunting and groaning to get that last bit out, okay? All right? So understand something. Let me ask you a question. How would your blood get dirty if you weren't pooping in your pelvis, love? Time's up. That's right. So understand something. The large intestine is 85% of your immune system. How many people know that the bacteria that they want you to kill is the bacteria in your large intestine, because that's your immune system. How many people know that every time that you go and you do that squirt of bacterial soap, we are such robotic morons. How many people squirted the bacterial soap during the COVID? A lot of you, so don't lie. Most of you. And guess what? That bacterial soap went into your hands, went into your bloodstream, and actually killed off some of the good bacteria in your bowel, which is your large intestine. How many people know that you have 70 trillion cells, but you have 700 trillion bacteria? And your bacteria, how many people know that your brain is not the most intelligent part of you? It's just a computer. And whatever you put into the computer will create your intelligence or your stupidity. How many people know that your bacteria are the most intelligent part of a human being? They talk 9 times to your brain, where your brain only talks 1 time to your body. How many people know that? How many people know that the information is collected in the pelvic bowl of a man and a woman, but especially a woman, and the pelvic bowl has become full of toxic waste? How many people know you would never have a cyst on your ovaries, because a cyst is just a sack of pus? Why would you have pus? Well, you had to poop in your pelvis to create infection that created the inflammation.
Can you talk to the lymphatic system at all?
Well, the lymphatic system, remember something. Why do we want to talk about that? Because that's back further. Because the large intestine, if you had proper bowel movements every day, you wouldn't have a backup in your lymph system.
Right.
Your lymph system moves like molasses. Okay, so it doesn't move very quickly.
No.
Okay, and understand, you've got 8 pints of blood, but you've got 12 quarts of lymph. And the lymph, okay, is under your arms. How's that doing? Well, smell under your arms, okay? And if they smell, then guess what? You're actually pooping from your armpits. That's what you're doing. You've backed up the waste, okay? If your vagina smells, same thing. If your groin smells. If your poo smells, you're rotting. Your poo should not smell. How many people knew that? You don't know that because everybody's poo smells. Actually, nobody knows anything about health. Okay, medical doctors know nothing about health. Most natural health doctors don't know what real health is. For one thing, you shouldn't be doing a cleanse, okay, a deep cleanse every 6 months. You should be creating a perfect day so you never have to be sick to have to go run like an emergency and do a natural health care program to try to dump the load because you feel like crap. So the reality is this. You want to work on creating a perfect day on an emotional and physical level. From the minute you rise until you close your eyes. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, and you also want to mind your own business. You don't want to know anything that anybody else knows. You want to focus on just your life. You want to focus on your life and your dreams and your desires. And you want to focus on you more than anyone else. You don't want to judge yourself, but you want to observe. How am I thinking? How did I just react to what she said, he said? Okay, and every time that, you ever notice something? You argue with your daughter, your husband, your wife about the same thing for 20 and 30 years. Yeah, don't tell me we're not moronically zombies, because we are. The reality is critical thinking's totally gone from this society. There's no critical thinking left. How many people know that there was a major study done and that 80% of the population is incapable of critical thinking, and only 2% of the 20% left actually have perfected critical thinking? So the reality is people don't think logically, do they? Yeah. They just react and attack. They don't connect to their breath, stay calm, don't say anything. Do you ever notice something? Government officials, the higher you go up, what do? They can be lying right to your face, and everybody knows it, and all they got to do is stay calm and allow you to lose it, and now you look like a fool, and they're the liars, but they walk away the winner. The reality is we are emotional beings that have never, ever learned, okay, how to be the masters of our emotions, because we are not in charge of the belief systems we have in our head. How many people know that we go to school for 12 years because the Rockefellers said that's how long it takes to program everyone to actually get them to be sick and dumbed down so they will work for us but not die off too quick? How many people know that? Well, come on, take a look at what your kids eat when they go to school. Garbage. They eat McDonald's every day. Look at, Rami, she's completely healthy, but her kids, I told her, stop fighting with your kids. They're drug addicts, okay? Because they want to hang around with their friends, and their friends' families their parents know nothing about health. No judgment here. I don't know how anybody gets through this you got to wake up. If I wasn't in the health business, I'd be dead. Okay, and because I was always a little rebel, troublemaker, I'm going to be that way until I leave this planet. I am not going to buckle for anyone. You can't threaten me to change. You can't bribe me to change. I am not going to do anything except live my truth. And most of you will only conform to the norm, to the herd, because you don't want to be picked on, okay? And you're so fearful and you don't even know it. And I get it. And it's okay. Nothing needs to change because I'm going to have fun anyway. I'm going to create look at right now, we've just created our own university. In 3 months, I have my own bank. Did you know that? I've created it with Dr. Ben. We'll have our own bank in Puerto Rico. So now nobody can close or steal our money. You see, you can do things. You can think outside the box. Do people do it? No, they don't. Do I pay taxes? No, I don't. And I do it legally. And guess what? How many people know that Puerto Rico is part of the United States? How many people know that in Puerto Rico, it's the only place in the world you can get corporations and legally, because it's the greatest loophole in the universe. There's nothing better. People think about hiding their money offshore. You don't have to. You can just go to Puerto Rico and do it legally and not have to give the federal government 1 penny if you don't want. And it's all legal. And guess what? Everybody goes, well, you should pay your share. No, I don't have to pay my share. Money's not real. And the reality is, before taxes, the roads were better and the schools were better. So what are you talking about? So everybody lives in an illusion. So to actually worry about what the majority thinks, you'd be a fool. Right or wrong?
Right.
Because the majority doesn't think. 86 to 90% of the population in every state in the United States has an autoimmune disease. Not 1, but 2 or 3. Okay, how many people know that over 80% of the population in the United States is morbidly overweight? How many people know that 20 years ago they changed obesity from 10 pounds overweight to 40 pounds? So now guess what? Do you feel comfortable? Any better? The reality is you have to understand how many people also know that all the major food corporations are owned by the tobacco industry, which is owned by the petroleum industry. And how many people know that all drugs are made out of petroleum? So how does it feel to go to the hospital and get gasoline? So, and then understand something. The majority's not going to change, and I don't want them to change. If I wanted them to change or I got upset, I would be sick. I really believe that this planet is a life-threatening, fun-filled adventure. And the reality is this, and you need to get this. You get to come down here and see if you want to earn your wings. I'm going to earn mine. First of all, I don't care what you think. I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't even care what my kids think. Because they're going to think it anyway, right? How many people have tried to change the thinking of your children or somebody that you truly love, Rami? Well, how did that make you feel?
Bad.
Made you sick, didn't it? Yeah. Your face blew up, didn't it?
Not anymore.
You have to understand something. Every physical ailment is an emotional issue that you created in your subconscious.
I know, I have such a blind spot there. I can't see it.
You're going to have it for the rest of your life. Unless you go to boot camp. She said, how do you hack it? Well, you spend $4,500. You come to my course for 9 days. Would they hack it in 9 days? Would they hack it? But guess what? Huh? Yeah. Yeah. 3 days but before you're done that course, you know. But the only problem is when you leave the course, you got to go home to a family that never took it And they're not, and guess what? They love you. But go and try to break away from the herd and have a different belief system where I'll fill up my own heart. You don't need to do it anymore. And they don't know that you just let them off the hook. That they can have their life back. But guess what? How did it feel the first time you had a relationship and someone said, I can't live without you? I'll tell you, that made me feel amazing. That was everything to me. Now, I would just put my Nikes on and run like hell. If you said that to me, I'd say, she's messed. I'm not touching that. No way. No way, Jose. But most of you, you just want someone to say to you, I can't live without you. Really? Wow. That sounds like a drug. I'm off of drugs now. Okay? Thank you very much. So what's normal is abnormal. And I'm abnormal, because that's obvious. What do you think, Rami?
Well, yeah.
Rami's more of a one-on-one girl, but she won't be. Give her more time. You know, people don't know what to say, but guess what? If we were in that room, in that house right now, or if she was when she's with her patients one-on-one, right? Right? But then when there's all these people and then we've got this here, everybody clams up. But guess what? That's because she cares what people think. And I already told you, people don't think. So you don't have to worry. But see, no, I mean it in the nicest way. But see, the thing is you don't want to clam up because she knows so much. She knows what I know. And she's proven it. And, you know, that's why she's so busy. I mean, she's booked right up, right? Between the Cellsonic and the non-surgical. You know, that's why they're moving. They're getting another house so she can have a bigger clinic and have 2 rooms, right? So the reality is, guys, it's like this. You need to become your own practitioner. You need to become your own lover. Because if you become your own lover, then you're never going to be what? Without love. And understand, human beings can't be without love. It's like oxygen. And that's where they got us. They love ransom all the time, don't they? Don't they? They try to pull our families apart. They try to pull everything apart. They try to pull us apart. Well, take a look at it. People sell themselves off by the pound. Remember something. Everybody here, think about when you were younger. How many canes did you see? Hardly any. None. How many walkers? None. How many wheelchairs? None. Now you can get run over by an electric wheelchair. And they're not even wheelchairs, they're go-karts. Right? And guess what? A lot of the people that are in them could be walking, but they've given up emotionally. So if somebody came to me like that, would I work with them? No, I'd send them to another practitioner because I'm not going to work with somebody that has given up emotionally. You know, you always want to ask yourself, okay, why do you want to live? Why do you want to live?
I want to live because life is beautiful and I'm beautiful.
What's your reason for living?
To love.
To love what?
To love people, to love...
No. The reason
to love me.
No. See? Look how long it took her to get there. Look how long it took her to get there.
Yes.
You cannot love flowers and trees unless you love yourself. You do not love flowers and trees when you do not love your life. That's called depression, isn't it? But before that, you have anxiety because there is no depression. There's no depression. How many know that? I got diagnosed with depression. No, you didn't. You had so much anxiety that you were burning your brain up with remember something, it's not just a thought, it's your life. You know what? If you changed your thought, you would change your life. If you change your thoughts, you change your personality. If you change your personality, you change your reality. And understand something. There is no such thing as depression. There isn't. It's just anxiety. When you have too much anxiety, guess what? You overheat your brain. Yes or no? Your brain has to shut down because it's only a computer. I hope you know that your brain is as stupid as your thoughts. Your brain is as rich as your thoughts. It's as poor as your thoughts. It's as sick as your thoughts. It's as healthy as your thoughts. Did you get that? Yeah. And understand, all of you that can't make money, it's just because you have poverty consciousness. That's all. Okay, and then of course the ones that can't make money, money's dirty, but it's not. Money's energy, and it moves things, it creates things, it does wonderful things. I don't love money, but I love what it does. It creates energy, and that energy helps me create a better platform for my practitioners. I can do this show. I've got 3 phones here that I can go on 3 platforms. You know what? I just created, and it'll be out in 3 months, a $250,000 app that's going to be free to the world to go on the largest self-help library, self-care library, and it's all free. Now, what would I do if I had poverty consciousness? Okay, I would hand you my card and hope that you came to me. And I don't care if you come to me. You don't need to come to me. But guess what? And the thing is that most people aren't worth a nickel 95. How much is that? A nickel 95. Thank you. I can tell that you're older because you actually learned some math. Okay. So a nickel 95 is $1, and people aren't even worth a buck. Because see, well, as soon as I said it was 4,500, right away I saw her. She just went, oh no, I wouldn't do that. I would buy a car or a brand new couch, or I would eat a whole bunch of donuts, but I am not going to spend $4,500 on this person that I don't love. But if she was in love with someone and they needed 4,500, she would beg, borrow, and steal because she doesn't love herself at all. And I'm not trying to pick on her. I want her to love herself. So I'm going to out her out just a little bit. And guess what? I'm only talking to her because I know that I can't talk to at least half of you because guess what? I hate him. Look what he did to me. He tried to embarrass me. They'll go home. You won't be able to sleep. You'll have diarrhea. You'll crap all over the bed. No, you know what? The world's full of victims, yes or no? Everybody's a victim. Everybody gets offended. Does everybody get offended now? Everybody gets offended, and I don't care.
It's a hurtful world.
It is not a hurtful world. Who said that? And of course you did, because you look like you just got out of a war. And of course you'd be the one to say that, because you look like you've been beat up. And the only person really beating you up is you, and then you also look for people that will beat you up to justify that you aren't worth a nickel 95. And there. And that's the God's truth. So let's find some value. Let's find some value. And guess what? That would be loving, honoring, and respecting thyself. Okay? What is that? Love yourself as you would love your neighbor? What do you think that means? What do you think that means? That means if you unconditionally love yourself, you won't kill your neighbor. You won't take a plane and join the war to go and kill people that you don't even know why you're there because someone told you you had to. Oh, like United States has been attacked so much. And the only attack that really happened was a government attack. And I don't want to get into that. But understand something. There's only 150,000 of them. There's 8 billion of us, and we can't seem to get our act together. We can't seem to love each other. We can't seem to eat good food, drink good things, think good things. Tell them to go blow. They don't own us. But you got to own yourself first, don't you? You got to love yourself first. You know, anybody that loves themselves isn't going to let anybody disrespect them, are they? Do you know why you get disrespected? Because that's the way you are with yourself. Let somebody try to disrespect me. You know, you can tell me, you know, Daryl, I don't like you. And I'll go, well, that's your choice. And thanks, but I'm not accepting the gift. Keep it yourself. I don't care what you think about me. I'm going to love you anyway. Because if I love people to the greatest of my ability, I don't have the cancer. The C in cancer stands for corruption, contamination, and conflict. I don't have any of that. You got to get this. Do you know what would happen if you totally loved yourself? You wouldn't have a boyfriend that would abuse you, disrespect you, you know, teach you or treat you like a lower being. That's what most men do. They treat women like lower beings, whether you like it or not, girls. That's the way it is. So, and the reality is that they will always do that until you become everything, and you become that feminine goddess. That's the way it's always going to be. The only reason why people are getting disrespected and putting diapers on their face, okay, and taking drugs is because people hate themselves on an unconscious level. Why else would they do it? You definitely don't know yourself. And the only reason why people take drugs is to numb out what? The pain. But the physical pain was emotional pain first, because the biological is ruled by the psychological, always will be, because energy creates everything. Questions? Now we're stumped.
Well, I have a question. So
Yeah.
if someone disrespects me and I care about how they...
If someone
treat me-
disrespects you,
Well, okay, so my son-in-law, he's a kidder, he'll say something, and I am the type of person that doesn't, fight back, let's say.
well, okay, well, I'm not going to fight back either. Okay, just know
So
this.
how would you do
One
it?
second.
Yeah.
1 second. Well, it's different if it's in your house, right?
Yes.
So, I would say, you know what? I know you were just kidding, but please don't speak like that. Okay? That's all. I love you, but please don't speak like that. Okay? And then if they do it again, just ask them to leave.
Okay.
Could you lovingly leave? No, but
So they won't do it in my house, but they'll do it in their house, like if I'm visiting. So
well, I know they will.
that's
I know they
done.
will. But see, that's the whole thing. Is okay. But you have to understand something. They won't do it to other people, but they'll do it to you.
Yeah, so how do I...
You set
change?
yourself up. So you need to see what you're doing and the way you react and how you do it. Okay?
That's what I mean, it's hard to see.
Yeah, well, understand this. You know what? From something as simple as that to, like there was a huge show done on me that, predicts me to be the devil. The reality is I don't react.
Yeah, I don't...
I don't need to attack, and I don't need to comment. Daryl, why don't you protect yourself? What do you mean protect myself? People are going to say and do things, okay, were you ever jealous of someone?
Yeah.
You were jealous because they had it better than you thought, or they had it easier than you. What? You disliked them right away. You know what? I would dislike me because guess what? I get what I want. And I get what I want because I focus on it, and I know that I deserve it because I don't have sinner syndrome. I'm a failure. I have that I deserve whatever I want. I came down here to create, and I'm going to act like it. And my source, my God, whatever you want to call it, has never judged me. That's a made up bullshit story, okay, that gets everybody thinking that, you know what, if we suffer today, we'll have heaven tomorrow. And, go ahead. I would believe in that because you guys are probably going to hell. But me, I'm not going to hell. There is no hell. The hell is in here. But you go ahead and believe whatever you want. Oh, yeah, but that's a really old book. It was written a long time ago. Yeah, well, it's probably moldy and dusty. The reality is, if you think that there wasn't a book that was rewritten by these psychos, you're psycho. You're psycho. Oh, no. Nobody would touch the book written by God or the hands of God. Oh, no, I guess, yeah. Totally protected. No ink could get on there. Nothing could be rewritten. The reality is whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong, it doesn't matter. I'm not putting anything down. What's wrong with just knowing that you came down to a place where your parents loved you the best they could, but they were totally dysfunctional? You loved your children as best as you could, but you're totally dysfunctional. And it's not your fault. And you need to apologize to your children and say, I didn't know any better. That's what I did to mine. I said, but I am waking up real quick here, and I'm here to support you and help to unscrew the screws I put in on you. So I'll do that, right? But I didn't know better. Where kids get really upset with their parents, and my parents are so dysfunctional and they lied to me. All the way back to, we are such fools. I told my wife, do not lie to the children. Do not tell them Santa brought the gifts. Why can't we just buy the gifts for them? Do not tell them the fairy brought the money. Do not do that. Do not tell them the Easter bunny brought the chocolate, because all we are is liars. So when the kids start to wake up and they realize all we do is lie to them, and then we spank our children if they lie to us. We are just like such morons. We do not think, and this whole thing was a play on us. Think about it. Somebody comes into this world, these beautiful little spirits, and they trust you. And you bloody well lie to them. You make up these fairy tale stories. I tell you something, it's the best way to ruin a relationship. How does it feel when somebody lies to you? Do you like it? Well, what do you think we're doing? These aren't little children, these are spirit beings. And these spirit beings come here, and then by the time they walk and talk, they mimic mom and dad. They mimic the people that they're around the most. So when they're having a tantrum, just know that it's you or you that they learned from. So why aren't we loving that and going, oh my God, I need to change? And did you know that you just had a tantrum like daddy does? I apologize, but I promise I won't do it again if you won't. No, we can't do that. We got to smack the little bugger, or put him in his room, or make him stand in the corner, or don't feed him. And don't tell me you haven't done that. Understand, we are taught to brutalize our children. Those beautiful little souls. You have no idea how I get pissed about this one thing. Okay? Okay? And I'm telling you right now that I'll tell you right now, if I was the king of everything, it would only be teenagers that would be allowed to have children, because they still have a heart. They still have a heart. They still have a tender heart. Adults have no tender heart. They're just angry, upset, and screwed up. And boy, that's why the world's screwed up. So as long as they can stop us and get us to not believe in self-love and self-care, if you can only give what you are. You can only give what you are. Nobody messes with me. Nobody comes and tries to play games or emotional games with me. No, because the vibration I give off, they're not going to come near it. You're an easy play. That's all. And he knows how to play you. Okay? Yeah. And that's because you haven't learned how to love, honor, and respect yourself. Because once you have that for yourself, you will get it from others. Parasites will not come sucking on you. They won't. You're an easy take.
And why is that?
Why is that? Well, because you want to be accepted. Yeah. You want to be loved because you don't accept yourself and you don't love yourself like you need to. End of story.
Yeah.
We're not gonna bicker about it tonight because I'm right. That I'm right about.
That's why I asked.
I know, but I'm just letting you know there's no negotiations on this. I'll tell you something. When I was 8 years old, I got baptized for the second time from my father, who was a born-again Christian pastor. And I got baptized because I used to be able to read people. I stopped reading them because I was called the devil. So I stopped reading them, and then I started reading again when I was in my late teens. But I had to stop it because I was cursed. Well, guess what? I wasn't cursed. All right? Let me tell you something. Once you unconditionally love and care for yourself, and you really truly do, and you unconditionally love people no matter what they dress like, what they look like, what they do, okay, you will be allowed to observe and feel them, what they really are, where they're coming from. That's why I get this. I never ever judge people. I only judge myself. I got rid of that, but I never judged people. I never did in my life. When I was even younger, I said, there's a spirit in every person. There's a beautiful spirit. I knew that. I couldn't voice it, but I knew it inside. And that's what saved me from judging people. So I just won't judge them. I won't judge them. These are all spirit beings. We all came from the same creator. The problem is that everybody's got different beliefs because of different parents and different schools. And also we get different perceptions. Remember something. You know what makes your personality different? Because the time that you come in and get infused in the womb, wherever your parents are in their growth state, the two of them are deciding your personality. I saw this guy, and he's a scientist, researcher, and he's on there going, you know what? Everybody thinks that they're responsible for the type of personality or the quality or the health of the child. Did you see that video? And he's going, that's a lie. You know what? I would like to get him on a show and go toe-to-toe with him, because that is a lie and he knows he's lying. Okay, the reality is this. Take a look at when you were pregnant. Take an honest look at when you were pregnant, what you ate, what you thought, the relationship you had with your husband, and you'll see the personality of the child. You know, people go, oh my God, my child, I really hope that I can have a natural birth, but the baby's feet are on either side of my vaginal canal. Well, that's because a little bugger doesn't want to come out. Jesus. What do you think? What do you think? It's a low vibrational turd? It's a spirit being. Oh my God, my child has the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck. Well, I would hang myself too if I had to hang out with you two. And I could keep going on, but I'm right about this. I already know it. Because do you know how many interventions I've done with families and couples? You have no idea. And why can't we just be logical? And yes, what you eat and think matters. And that's the God's truth. Do you have lights in here? Yes. What you eat and think matters. And let me tell you something. Do you think that when you weren't fearful, that the baby wasn't fearful? Do you think when you were fearful and you were dumping adrenaline, which is totally acidic, that you didn't just burn the baby's nervous system out? Do you think that when you couldn't let go of your shit emotionally, then you couldn't let go of it physically, that was doing really well for the baby when it's now surrounded in one big long turd called your large intestine and it's in the middle of a sewer dump? Do you actually believe that? Do you know how many women, their pelvic girdle is rotting out? Why do you think we're losing babies? Why do you think babies opt out and say, I'm not coming? They don't want to come, not misinformed, but deformed. Understand something. You can't eat the food that the average woman eats and have a healthy child. And then the other thing is women don't even know this. You have to take iodine in every day when you're pregnant, or your child will have low mentality. I mean, there's just basic things and nobody knows. And guess what? Doctors are taught only enough to make you think that they think. That's it. That's all. And I'm not putting them down. If you want emergency care, go to them. But they are not doctors. Doctor means teacher. And understand, anybody that comes to Rami, she trains them. She trains them how to become their own practitioner. Every one of my practitioners do that. We are not practitioners treating people, because you mistreat people when you treat people. I don't care. You're a chiropractor and all you do is treat, you're mistreating people. If you're a massage therapist, a medical doctor, physiotherapist, and you just treat people, you're mistreating them. And understand something. I got a question for you. Do I give a money-back guarantee because that's my marketing gimmick? Or do I give a money-back guarantee because I know that my stuff works? Which one? And then guess what? I hope you know that I've got thousands of therapists that have come through our training, and I provide a money-back guarantee to them if somebody else wants money back. You know how often I give the money back? One time in the last 7 years. Why? Because our stuff works. Because every disease is a scar tissue calcium problem. If you get the calcium back in the bones, if you turn the scar tissue back into connective tissue, you're young again. You don't believe me? I guarantee you that I'm probably 20 times more flexible than anybody here. I'm more flexible than her children. I can guarantee it. Let's have her children come home. I'm more flexible. I'm more flexible here, and I'm more flexible. How many of you do 45 minutes to an hour of length and strength? And I'm going to be doing next week, I'm going to do a 45-minute, 1 hour. I'm going to show you what I do anywhere from 2:30 until 5:30 in the morning. Depends when I wake up. And then what I do is I breathe and I pray and I exercise at the same time. And I do that for an hour. And I didn't lose an hour of sleep. I connected with my Creator, because guess what? My Creator only whispers, doesn't yell in my ear and tell me that I'm a bad boy. Okay, so I get up when it's quiet, I do my exercises, and I connect, and I go, Is there anything I need? Is there anything that I need to know? That's it. I'm going to live my life, not yours, and I'm not going to live the majorities, and I'm not going to live any religion. I'm not going to believe any belief system. I'm going to make up my own story. I'm going to make up my own story, and I'm going to live my own life. And that's it. I will never bow down to a human being ever on this planet, and I will never have another human being bow down to me. Every human being is my equal. Every human being is my equal. And I will live like that. And I say it loud and proud because I need to get it into this thick skull that's been programmed since day one. And I mean this thick skull. Let me tell you something. When I first started talking about unconditional love, I felt flaky, but I knew it was right. And then everybody came up against me. Nobody comes up against me now. Oh no, that's not true. You know. Let's put it this way. I get attacked on a continual basis, but they're not attacking me. They just, don't get me wrong, but just think if the world had unconditional love for itself and others, what would happen to the government, the medical system? What would happen to these psychos that have a chokehold on us right now? You understand, this is a slave planet. This will always be a slave planet. All right? But you need to think outside the box. Okay? God is not going to intervene because you have been given the power, okay, to have unlimited potential. You choose not to use it. You choose to believe that it's as good as it gets, that this is as good as it gets when we eat or drink or think, because you're only used to your own family. You got to get out of your family. You got to get away from your family. You got to go somewhere where you are being challenged to love and care for yourself more. You know, people say, I've got cancer. What should I do? Leave your family. Go away. Well, what should I do? Go where? I don't know. Find an island with lots of coconuts and lots of fruit and a hammock and a beautiful beach where you can run naked, okay, and find yourself. I don't know. That would be a starter, because you cannot heal in the environment that you got your dis-ease, because there are no dis-eases, just you being out of harmony. I know what I'm talking about. And even if I don't, I'm liking it. And I'm gonna do it for me, and I don't care if you want it. Do you understand? Because I don't have addictions. I don't buy alcohol. I don't buy drugs. Okay? I don't even have a car. You know what? Right now, we don't even have a home. All our stuff is in a container. We're just traveling the world and lecturing and trying to see if we can find followers so they'll give us some money and throw some money in a cup or something. Where's my cup? I don't want followers. We only need leaders. We don't need followers. I don't want anybody following me. What you do is you come and you learn how to get your independence. Your inner independence. Your inner independence. When you can find peace when there's chaos, okay? Because chaos is coming. These psychos, they've been planning this for 250 years. Everybody like your commercial break? Well, just know this fall, they're coming, and they're going to come 20 times harder. And they're going to have more restrictions. And then what are you going to do? Complain and explain? Are you going to get depressed? Have anxiety? Okay? Are you thinking outside the box? I know I am. I'm strategizing right now. These buggers aren't going to win when it comes to me. I already know that. I'm already coming together with like-minded people because we know that they're coming at us hard this fall. I mean, Fauci, for God's sakes, he was the one that headed HIV. And all they were doing was dumping a cancer drug that they said they were not allowed to use anymore because it was killing people, but it was okay to give it to the HIV patients because let's get rid of those homosexuals. Who likes them? You know, and then the reality is he comes back like 30 years later and he pulls the same prank. God, are we all that dumb? And then guess what? They never ever isolated the HIV thing, and they never isolated the C thing either. But meanwhile, it just totally devastated people. You know, suicides tripled in a lot of the states, and in Canada, tripled. Okay, depression right now is at its max. 3 people called me today and said, I want to kill myself, Dr. Wolfe. No, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. You know, and what's going to happen on this next tsunami of BS? Dysfunctional belief systems. It's going to take the average person down, the majority. It's a lie. But I'll tell you what's not a lie. You were created by God Almighty to come down here, and your greatest gift is your imagination. And guess what? You gave up your imagination, and you turned your sandbox into a kitty litter. How does it feel?
It stinks.
It stinks, that's right. And remember something, it's not just a thought. Now it's rot. Stinking thinking causes a rotten body. And that's why you're rotting out. How many people know that every disease you have, if we could open you up, you would smell the flesh rotting underneath you? Yeah, and how many people know that it's emotional toxicity that becomes physical toxicity? That's all it is. We are light energy, electrical, magnetic beings. Go ahead and turn the dimmer switch down on your brightness and find out what happens. So honestly, guys, you know what? Every one of you have scar tissue. Every one of you need to have work done on your spine, your pelvis, your intestines. There's not a person here that doesn't have adhesions. There's not a person here, okay, whether it's male or female, that your pelvis isn't full of scar tissue and calcium and crystallization. You think I'm kidding? I can prove it. If you want, we can take a break. And if you want, we'll go in the house. We can try to get comfortable, can we?
Yes, of course.
Okay, and we'll go in and I'll show you her Cellsonic. But then if you want, I can work on someone and I can prove to you that every one of you have adhesions that are wrapping around your intestines. Look at how many times did you feel pain, swelling, gas in here? For most of you, it's after every meal because you don't food combine properly, you eat too fast, and you eat the wrong foods. Okay, so you always feel full or sluggish or bloated. Okay, and you're rotting, and you do know that that's what's happening. An autoimmune disease means that you're rotting. Okay, now how many people here know that 80% of all antibiotics go into animal products? So everybody here that eats animal products and they're not free range and organic, if you eat animal products every day, whether it be dairy, cheese, or meat, or chicken, or pork, that you have consumed a full dose of antibiotics every month, which means that you have annihilated your good bacteria, which is your immune system, which means that you don't even have to do antibiotics because you're already getting them, and you're turning the yeast into your large intestine into fungus, which becomes a drill bit predator and drills holes into your large intestine and makes it into a screen door in a submarine. You're pooping in your pelvis. Yeah. How many women right now pee in their panties throughout the whole day? 47% in the United States. So that's like 1 out of 2 women almost are urinating in their urine. And how many people know it's because you've been pooping in your pelvis and you actually have rotted out your pelvic girdle? How many people know that when you do that, you get infection, which creates inflammation, and then what happens is the valve that releases the urine becomes calcified, and that's what it is. How many people know that heart problems are calcification problems? How many people want to have some fun? Hi, can I help you? This is Dr. Wolfe.
Yes, Dr. Walsh, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Figueroa in San Antonio.
How you doing?
All right, I was watching you, excuse me, on YouTube.
Oh yeah, what were you watching?
Your testimony of this lady that had breast cancer.
Good. If you want to call me tomorrow, you can. But right now, I'm giving a lecture, and I'm live right now. Okay.
Yeah, I hear you on the telephone.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've got your number. I'm gonna lock it in. I know someone that's struggling with this issue. I'd like to.
Well, let's talk about breast cancer, won't we? So, what breast is it? The right or the left?
I think she had a mastectomy or something like that.
I know, but they didn't take both her breasts, did they? Because if they did, that means the doctor came in with a hangover. So understand. So they took one. They usually don't take both. Unless it's,
okay.
yeah. You might get the odd doctor that says, hey, let's take the other one because we wouldn't want it to spread. Okay? You would believe the things I hear. Okay? So understand, if it's, have this lady go into my library and watch The Emotional Intelligence of Cancer, Disease, and Healing. It was the biggest cancer study ever done, and it was suppressed. And it shows that all cancers are emotional. It does. And the reality is, you're going to find out when you find out what breast it hit first, you're going to find out what part of her life she had a problem with. Okay? Because it's called issues in the tissues, junk in the joints. You don't have a problem with your joints or your tissues unless you have an emotional problem. Whether you believe this or not, how many people have had a perfect day consultation from one of my people? When you do, you get a manual that's almost 400 pages, and it shows you what every emotion, what disease it causes, and the mixture of them. And understand, I'm right. That's true science. That's real science. Okay?
I'm doing a website, sir. I'd love to talk to you about incorporating you into, it's a holistic health and wellness website.
Yes.
And it talks about the soul, body, and the spirit of man, and how everything's interrelated, and not separate the soul, which is mind, intellect, self-will, this God-given spirit, and the physical body. Because what happens in one area of the soul, body, or spirit affects another.
Well, no. What happens with you happens with everyone. We create a ripple effect. And that's why it would be really great if you'd all put a slight smile on and never take it off. Because the reality is you could bring up the vibration of the whole planet. But some of you will never smile because you will just tell me to go screw myself. Because you know what? I'm not smiling unless somebody tells me a joke or gives me some money. And that because you have these thoughts that life is miserable and piss off. I'm not smiling. I put so much energy into being a miserable son of a bee. I'm going to just stay there. And understand, we'll have people in the course, and it'll take them, won't it? It'll take them 3 days before they can find a smile. And they're giving me the virtual finger in my whole life coach course. You should see the faces people do. You know? So the reality is this.
And they're skeptical.
Well, no, there's no such thing as skeptical. There's only such thing as belief systems. So understand, your belief systems run you. That's like people say, you need to go and kill your ego. There's no ego. There's only belief systems. There's no such thing as an ego. You know, oh my God, that girl is arrogant. No, she's not. She has low self-confidence, so she's overshooting because she doesn't want people to know that she's nervous. So piss off. Everybody thinks they know something. And there is no ego. And if you want to kill your ego, you're going to end up killing yourself. All you need to do is go and find out the beliefs that do not unconditionally love and care for you. They are beliefs that you got from different systems or your parents gave them to you because they were unconscious. There is no ego. People say, oh my God, that person's so arrogant. No, they're nervous or they just haven't found themselves and they're not centered in themselves. They don't believe in themselves. And this is how they're trying to fake it. You know what? We always got to label everyone, don't we? We got to label everybody. When we always got to kill something. Let's kill the ego. Okay? Let's kill the cancer. Let's stop killing. Let's start loving. And we will find the answer. That's it. All right. You think about that one. We'll talk tomorrow.
So your website so I can share it with you.
Well, I've got two of them. One is called braveheartnation.com that has all my trainings, all my courses on it, all where my lectures are going to happen. And then I've got docofdetox.com where you'll find my library, where you can go into my, why don't you go into my library and then see if that blows your mind. It's the biggest self-love, self-help library in the world, and it's free. There's more master Doc of Detox. Docofdetox.com. Okay?
Okay.
All right?
All right. And the other website was
Braveheartnation.com.
Nation.
.com. Okay?
Yeah, I'll definitely tell her about you.
Well, don't tell her about me. Just tell her to go into the library and look at that one master class, okay? The emotional chemistry of cancer, disease, and healing. Then ask her to go into the ionic calcium guide, and she'll find out that it's very easy to turn around cancer once you get rid of the C. Because the C stands for corruption, conflict, and contamination. And what are you left with? ANSER. That spells answer. Okay?
Ionic calcium will get rid of cancer?
Ionic calcium, yeah, but there's only one product in the world, and it's called ionic calcium therapy. You have to understand it. They're invisible ions, which you used to make when you were younger, okay? And the reality is once you start taking this, you will have perfect bones. And remember that calcium ions carry on 120,000 hormonal and chemical processes every second, and you stop making them. When you're over the age of 35, it slows down, just like you stop making human growth hormone, which goes into the liver that makes IGF-1. Well, we have created a product that's all natural, IGF-1. Your body can't tell the difference. So if you're taking ionic calcium, okay, our ionic calcium therapy, and you're doing IGF-1, guess what? You've got the energy and you've got the ability of somebody that's in their 20s again. Okay? All right.
I might need it for my diabetes.
Well, diabetes, what do you have? Adult onset diabetes?
I have type 2.
Type 2. Well, type 2 is adult onset diabetes. You don't have diabetes. You just have a bad diet. You've got too many refined carbs and you've got too much sugar going into you. And that's it. You jack up your blood sugar all the time and demand your pancreas to make tons of insulin, and it's exhausted. Okay?
So it's carbs and sugar?
Yeah, it is. It's carbs and sugar and dairy. Nobody understands that, you know what? Cow's milk, guess what? Given to an infant or a young child, okay, what happens is the casein, which is a poison, if it attaches itself to the pancreas, the body attacks the casein on the pancreas, and that's how you get juvenile diabetes. That's one way. So understand that.
No. Parents yourself will say, drink your milk, you know.
Well, whatever. Guess what? We're all programmed. Human beings are not that intelligent unless they have intelligent beliefs, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, all right. So did you go to school?
Yes.
No, there's not much hope for you. Okay, so there isn't. So anybody that went to school for 12 years to a regular school, there's not much hope. Did you know that only 1 out of 10,000 people ever really truly awaken? Okay, all right? Jesus was one of them. So understand that. And to awaken, you'd have to unconditionally...
Are you a Christian?
Am I a Christian? No. Jesus wasn't a Christian. Why would I be a Christian? That was made up. So understand something. My father was a born-again Christian pastor. I am a spirit being, and that's all I am. Because why? Because I want everyone to come into my house. I want everyone, no matter what their religion, what their color, I will never label myself or another human being. So understand that. People would call me up and go, Dr. Wolfe, are you still a Christian? Because if you're not, I'm not coming to you. And I said, I'm everything, so you might want to come. I'm a tossed salad, but if you don't want to come, don't come. And understand something. The Christians think that they're only going to heaven, and the Buddhists think they're all going. The Jews think they're going. And guess what? We're all going. Thank you. Have a good night. All right. I don't put up with that. What did I say about labels earlier? There will be no labels in my house. We will love everyone. I don't care what that person's beliefs are. I will love and respect them, because guess what? The only thing this world lacks is love. Real love. Not the type where I'll love you if you love me. I'll love you if you give me what I want. I'll love you if you match my beliefs. I don't want any of you to match my beliefs, because then you're not yourself. You're me. I need you to be you. I need you to find your authentic reason for being on this planet, because you all came here with a purpose and you lost it. They stole it from you. They diminished you. My only purpose here is to try to maybe create a little bit of fire so that you find yourself, find your purpose, find your passion, and learn how to love yourself so you don't rot out. And that's the God's truth. Because understand something. How many times do you eat and drink and do things that you know aren't good for you, but you do it to compromise friendship. So I need a friend. I need a lover. Okay, yeah, but I don't want to do that. Oh, but I think, okay, I'll just have one. No, I'll have none. Okay, I'll have none. Okay, and that's why you get in trouble. You compromise yourself all the time. You are like a chameleon. She just wants to fit in wherever she is. Well, guess what? You'll never fit in. Okay? I don't like nice people. Nice people don't live long. Oh my God, what about this one? Oh my God, he was so nice. Why'd he die? Well, it's hard trying to be everyone and do everything and kiss everybody's butt. I mean, even the smell would kill you early. Okay? All right? Anyways, why don't we'll go inside and maybe we'll do a little bit of non-surgical and we might even set up here. If you guys want to join us, I'm sure you've had enough. God knows if I was just new to this channel, I would have. But we'll turn you back on in a couple of minutes, okay? Thanks for joining us. Okay, so do you want to show them where to go?
Yes.
Or do you want to tell them where to go?